We continue now at the top of Daf Peivavam and Beis and Meseches Menachos. This is Menachos Daf 86b. On the previous Amud, the Mishnah said that, for example, the second grade oil from the first harvest and then the first from the second, they are equal. And so the Gemara now asks, Shavin, they're equal. V'amrit, but you said, Rishon l'menorah, that only the first of these various seasons of harvest, only that first oil that comes out is good for the menorah. V'ashar l'menachos, and the rest is from menachos, so they're not equal, because the first of each is the only one that is good for the menorah. And the Gemara continues and answers, Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says, Mai Shavin, what does it mean that they're equal? It just means Shavin l'menachos, it means they're equal for menachos. We mentioned this on the previous Amar. It just means that if you're using it for karban mincha, so the second of the first and the first of the second are considered to be equal for that. Rashi explains, Shavin bitmia, this is a question. The Katani hasheni shabarishan v'harishon shabasheni Shavin. Again, it said in the Mishnah that from the first harvest, that second oil that comes out is equal to the first of the second harvest. So how are they equal? But we also said, Rishon l'menorah v'hashar l'menachos. It's only the first oil that's extracted that is good for the menorah and the rest for the menachos. The hasheni shabarishon, for example, the second of the first, the second oil that's extracted of the first harvest, ein roy l'menorah, that is not fit for the menorah. V'rishon shabasheni, but the first of the second harvest, roy l'menorah, that is fit for the menorah. V'heichei haveshavin, so how are they equal? And again, the Gemara answered, l'menachos for menachos, meaning shimrot zaliton harishon shabasheni l'menachos. Let's say the first one of the second for menachos hareo kasheni shabrishon. That's the same as the second of the first. Again, as far as karban mincha is concerned. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, af kol ha-menachos hayabedin. It would have been logical to argue that all menachos should also come from shemen zayizach. And then the Mishnah concluded that's really only by the oil of the menorah. And the Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanan, the sages taught in the Braisa, zach, it says in the pasuk, zach, ein zach ela naki. Zach means it's naki, it means it's clean or clear. Rabbi Yehuda says kasis, it says in the pasuk kasis, which is crushed. Ein kasis ela kasish. Kasis means that it's pounded. Now yachol yehei zach kasis pasal menachos. Now one might think that zach kasis is disqualified for menachos. Tamilomer v'isaron solas bolol b'shemen kasis. It says that it's an isaron of solas by karvan mincha, and it's mixed b'shemen kasis. Imkein matam and lomer lemor. If so, what does it mean when it says lemor, which is the light of the menorah? Ela mipnei hachisachon. That is only because of chisachon. Chisachon means we want to spare the Jews the expense. In other words, really, of course, one could use the pure olive oil for menachos, but that would be too costly, so it is not required. As the Gemara continues, my chisachon, what does it mean? Chisachon, Amar Rebbe Elazar says, HaTorah chasa al mamonan shal Yisrael. The Torah is concerned with Israel's wealth. And the Gemara continues, Tzavis b'nei Yisrael v'yichu elecha shemen zayizach. Again, the pasuk says, instruct b'nei Yisrael, they should take shemen zayizach. Amar Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani. Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani says, elecha v'lo li. The light of the menorah is for you, it is not for me. Lo la'ora ani tzarech. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I don't need the light is for you. And the Gemara continues at the two dots, Shulchan B'tzaf, and the Shulchan was in the north of the Heichel, and Menorah B'darim, and the Menorah was in the south. Amr Zreika, Amr Belazar. Zreika says that Belazar says, Lola Achila Anitzarach, I don't need the breads of the Shulchan, I don't need to eat. Velola Ora Anitzarach, and I don't need the light of the Menorah, it is not for me, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the Gemara continues, the pasuk says in Sefer Melachim Vayas Labayas Chalone Shkufim Atumim, it says that he made for the house windows that were wide and narrow. This refers to Shlomo building the Beis HaMikdash. And the Gemara says, Tana, it was taught, Shkufin mi befnim va'atumim mi b'chutz. They changed the gears over here to Shkufin mi b'chutz va'atumim mi befnim, which means they were wide on the outside and they were narrow on the inside. And the whole idea is, Lo la'ora anitzarch, because I don't need the light. And the idea is that when the windows of the Beis HaMikdash were constructed in this fashion, the light of the menorah, it spread outward, outside, so to speak, of the Beis HaMikdash. And the Gemara continues, the pasuk says, Michutz leparoches ha'idus b'oel moed. It says that outside of the paroches and the oel moed, that's where the menorah is arranged. And the idea is, Eidus hu l'chol boi olam. It's a testimony for everyone in the world, Shashchina, show Rabbi Yisrael, that the Shechina rests in Klal Yisrael. V'im tomer, if you're going to say, La'or anitzarch, that I need the light, v'halo kol arboim shana shahalchu Yisrael b'midbar, but all 40 years that Klal Yisrael, that they went in the midbar, lo halchu ela la'oro, they went by his light, they went by the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Elo edasu l'chol by olam, rather it's testimony for the whole world, sha'ashchina shor Rabbi Yisrael, that the Shechina rests in Klal Yisrael. And the Gemara continues, Mai edusa, well, what exactly is the testimony of the menorah? How does that work? And the Gemara continues, Amar Rava says, Zen ner ma'aravi, this refers to the western lamp of the menorah, shenosnin b'shem and keneged chavros Yoseh. The Kohen puts the amount of oil in there equal to the measure that it puts in all the other lamps. Umimeno hayamadlik, but that's the candle that was lit first. That's the lamp that was lit first, rather. Uvo hayamasayim, and that also was the last one. It lasted the longest, and that is the testimony. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, Me'ayin hayu mevi'an es hayayin, from where do they bring the wine for the nesachim, for the libations in the Beis HaMikdash? Keduchim v'atulin, the wine from Keduchim and Atulin, those are names of places. Alpha liyayin, those are places that had the most superior wine. Shniya lahen, second to them, Beis Rimu, Beis Lavan Bahar, Beis Rimen, Beis Lavan in the mountains, Uchvar Signa bevika, and Kfar Signa in the valley. Kol haratzos hayu kasheros, all lands were kosher. Elamikan hayu mevi'an, it's just that from these places, these are where they brought the wine from. And the Mishnah continues, Ein mevi'in lomi beis hazvalim velomi beis hashlachim. We don't bring it from the areas that need to be fertilized, from the areas that need to be irrigated, velomi mashin izra beinein, or from areas where they plant seeds in between the vines. Again, those are areas where the quality is inferior. V'im hevi kosher, and if it is brought from those places, it is kosher. And the Mishnah continues, Ein mevi'in helistion. We don't bring helistion wine. Helistion wine is wine from grapes that are hung in the sun. It's very sweet wine. V'im hevi kosher, and if one does bring that, it is still kosher. Ein mevi'in Yashan, we don't bring old wine. Divrei Rebbe, these are the words of Rebbe. V'chachamim machshir, and the chachamim say old wine is kosher. Ein mevi'in, we don't bring lo masuk v'lo me'ushan, we don't bring sweet, we don't bring smoked, v'lo mavushal, and not cooked wine. V'im hevi pasal, and if those are brought, it is pasal, it is disqualified. Vein mevi'in min hadaloyos elamin haraglios, we don't bring it from the vines which are suspended, we bring it from the trailing vines which are on the ground. Umin hakromim ho'avudin, it has to be from the cultivated vineyards. V'lo konsen oso b'chatzavin gedolin, we don't place the wine in large casks. Ela b'chevios katanos, rather it's in small barrels. Veino memale es hachavis ad pia, we don't fill the barrel until its mouth. Kadeshie recho nodef, that allows the aroma to spread when the barrel is opened. And eino mevi mipia, we don't bring the wine from the mouth of the barrel mipnei, because. And Rashi Ksav explains, Korchayim va'atulyan mekomo, saying these are the names of places. Me'ayin hayu mevi'an yayin l'nesachim, from where do they bring wine for nesachim? Halustin is yayin mosuk machmas hashemesh, that's sweet wine because of the sun. Shal yutolan es va'anavim la'hashemesh, they would hang the grapes in the sun. And yashin is mishel eshtake, that means from last year. And mosuk sweet, hainu me'elov, mosuk means that it's sweet on its own. V'lo machmas hashemesh, not because of the sun. Min hadloyos is min hagafanim hamudalos al gabe klunsos unesarim, that's when they would suspend the vines on poles. Elamin haraglios shashoch was al gabe karka, rather they would bring it from those that are lying on the ground. Ha'avudim chafurim, again that's like cultivated land. And chatzavim gedolim is large casks. Pogmim tam hayayin, that ruins the taste of the wine. Ve'eino memalias achavis keshachavis malei, if it's too full, if the barrel is too full, yotze reicha lechutz ve'eno nodef, then the aroma is not as pleasant. And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Pei Zayin Amud Aleph.